these weird sounds. Oh, the plane. My name is Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne. Welcome. Oh, get my teeth in. My name is Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos. And I'm going to be, to some, a bit weird tonight. A lot of you know that I love my soundtracks. And with Doris here, there's a whole other angle to her. So I'm going to sing the Doris electric. As a bit of a takeoff weather report, I think. Anyway, what I have here is lots of different sounds from an Asian patch. Now, one of the things that we all have, or many of us have, is an electronic drum kit set up out the back, and we have the real drum kit or the acoustic drum kit, usually packed up these days, ready to go out and gig with or whatever it might be. Because of built-up living, sometimes the acoustic drum kit can be in a bit of a dangerous spot, that kind of thing. Now, one of the things about electronic drum kits is that back in 2010 it was official that there were more electronic drum kits being sold than acoustic drum kits. And I had to change my teaching just a little bit. I even had it the other night when I was ready to teach a student brushes. I love my brushes. And she just looked across and just said, Chris, my kit's electric. Ooh, shit out of luck. I didn't say that to her. But anyway, what it is there's lots of different things. And I also have kids playing away, and they think that a crash cymbal is like the loudest thing they've ever heard because they're with their headphones and the volume's down and everything else. So it's a different style of teaching in many ways, and that's what goes on. However, within that electric drum kit, there are a myriad of sounds to explore, you see. And what happens is what I did around about 17 years ago was get the triggers, the plane, lots of things, and I'm just sticking with that one at the moment. And what it is I've just got sounds from an Asian drum kit, and the thing is, go and have a look, get out of drum kit number 1 and experiment. Go to drum kit 23. My old electronic drum kit, I think, was patch number 20, and it was all Chinese sounds. It was just, it's what it was. It's just exactly why I'm doing it now. It was like lots of gongs and stuff. And then what that gave me is I started doing things like, okay, what happens if I just play this beat? Basic, no frills, rim shot. I'm getting that trigger there, do you see? Now all of a sudden, what can start to happen is that, okay, how can I use this? So if I'm just playing the middle of the snare, okay, that's what I'm getting with a little jingle jangle at the end. Rim shot. Ooh. And then one of the things I love using is the hi-hat. I don't just chick and I just don't hit and I don't just do open. I splash, I do splash hats and lots of different things. And one of the things that happens when you are trying to sort of do something a little bit different with your drums is to create other things, do you see? You could have a drum beat like this. No problem. Rim shot. Get that sound in. then free up a hand. Ooh! I've done that one already. There it is. So all of a sudden, these sounds start to send you somewhere else, you see. So I could... What I've done, actually, before I go into that bit, what I do with the drum kit is I do deliberately leave some untriggered, like this bass drum over here. That kind of thing, yeah. This snare drum here. And funnily enough, that little... things like that. Now when I'm doing that, I'm just pedaling away like a heavy hi-hat. Once again, Bonham gets a nod. And what happens, I'm just putting it over here. And then I can put in the right foot for punctuation, yeah. Oh, I'll do it here. So if I'm playing a rock beat, look, I'll do it this way. This is the other thing that I'm getting at too, is how to do different things and go with what you've got. Quote Alan Zavod. R.I.P. He told me one day, Chris, sometimes you just got to go with what you got. Let's say you've got a rock beat. As basic as it gets, no frills. Okay, that's fine. Why not, instead of that, we have that. Instead of, now our right hand is free. If I just started the show with that, you'd be forgiven for me doing a little bit out of the Will Coxon book, 150 rudimental solos and all that, and other various things, you see. And there's that. But with spreading the love a little bit, what can start to happen is that I could start here. Now, if you've just joined us, I've got some weird sounds here, but it's the Asian kit, the Asian patch on Doris the Electric tonight, and using the triggers and things. But I'm throwing this to all of you out there who have an electronic kit and have drum kits that you've never tried before. And you go to drum kit number 23, and the next thing you know, oh, where's all these sounds coming from? Hey, I know that sound. That was in the movie the other night, some kind of Terminator kind of junk, 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 something like that, you know. That's where these sounds come from, or how they get used. They are all samples from somewhere, you see. One of the people that I follow on the old face chookeries is Carol Kay. Who knows her? She is the wonderful bass player of the Wrecking Crew, the group of musicians that used to do all the session work in the 60s into the 70s. And just the other day she posted a photo, and she used to do all the sessions and movies. She could read fly shoot at 50 yards and all that, and then add. And she's famous for some of the famous riffs. Boom, boom, dum, dum, boom, dum, boom, but dum, dum, I got sunshine. She's famous for that and all sorts of things. But what it is the picture of the orchestra and the movie up on the wall with the conductor going, now. And at some point, you know, if it was wee, Psycho or something like that, bit of mallets, and that's why you have these fellas. Now when I'm doing this, could be a blues beat like last week, but when I'm doing oh, what was I doing there? Okay, there, mix. Something like that. And then you're just going with a mood, kind of a free-form solo to a certain degree, but you're dictated to by the sounds you have in front of you, whether it be just the humble 4-piece drum kit, the one that I started out with back in the early 70s, a Star drum kit. There you go, who remembers them? And that became Tamar, and that's why every Tamar kit has Star after it as a tribute to its original name. Rock star, grand star, this star, the other star. There you go. All right, so that's what goes on there. But what happens is tonight's lesson is quite, some would say experimental. And I always have trouble with that because once you set something up, it's not experiment. You know what you're doing. I'm not experimenting, really, for me. And then you do things like, you might have a single stroke roll, right? Empty sounds, hit a cymbal. That was a car chase, I think. And then what happens is that you start mixing the acoustified business. I've already said that, 3 crashes because it's tonal, 3 blind mice. And over here, the boy out in the bay, you know. Oh, we're getting close to the rocks. Oh, sinister. And all of a sudden, you might turn to mallets. Fantasy Island, I tells you. I've already done it too many times. That's what happens, you see. Now, all of a sudden, all these sounds start to give you a kind of an idea for things, hopefully, this evening. So what starts to go on is that you can do things in an opposite manner, if you like, these kinds of things. Now, I've already explained the rock beat thing, so I could be... freehand. Now, what happens now is that once you get an idea in your head, sometimes it's going to be something you can't play. That's right. And then you have to practice to see the idea through, you see. So when you're doing this, replacing this and getting... Now that again, going back to your rudimental studies. Flam accent, let's say. And then I've done shows on that. But what happens is you start mixing it up between two surfaces and away you go. Now, if you're going to do, say, something like a straight jazz thing, it doesn't feel very straight anymore. And all of a sudden, what seems to be a fairly straight kind of beat as far as jazz, you're starting to mix it up. And do different things like just the beautiful paradiddle family, and then all sorts of things. Now, when you're getting around the drums, this is another thing that I talk about quite a bit. So in a funny kind of way, this episode is a little bit of a summary of shows that I've done over the last months. What it is I often talk about the vertical when you're doing your rudiments on a practice pad. Love it, no worries. But there's also the horizontal when you're going around the drums, and especially when I bought these back, 24 years ago now, 2002 for the piccolo tom, developed by DW and Terry Bozzio. But what it is I got to use them. What am I going to do? And so I learnt to sort of work up two-part stuff, if you know what I mean. And then what would happen is you could take just a normal rudiment. I'll do the flam tap. So on it goes, you see. Now if I put in the hi-hat, talk about that for a bit, and maybe I do, what could I do? I'll do a Latin bass drum. Huh? Okay. You notice there's a naturally opening hi-hat there. I'm not really aiming for it. It's just there because I've got these. Say if I just played normal, straight, every in between. Paradiddles are very interesting. I'm just doing a Latin bass drum. I'll go back to 2 feel, yeah? Cool. Oh, a little bit of a screw up there, but. And that's, you know, I often talk about the hi-hat always there, the diagonal, you've got your right hand and left foot. But now I'm just getting back into technique and a couple of chops or whatever it is. But really the subject of tonight is the sounds. I've got this, I'm keeping to it, and a bit of continuity, conceptual continuity is what I'm looking for here. Now that's a single stroke roll, right? Any other thing would be the 1 Iana, 2 Iana, 3 Iana, 4 Iana, 1 Iana, 2. But I'm splashing. You can see it down in boot camp. And because I'm going between two drums, I'm creating something else. Then you can get into polymetrics like 3. And 5. And then your head spins and then you think, who's going to dance to that? I will. Don't eat much. Sorry, and all that. I hope you're getting something out of this. It's a little bit weird ass, I know, but what it is the main push for this is, I'll use the word experimentation on your electronics. Now, it doesn't, even if you've just got an acoustic kit out there, you would have GarageBand on the computer or some kind of software recording thing with drum tracks or something like that. And if I'm going to go down the path of GarageBand, you've got all the world sounds in there. So you've got these sounds, these exact sounds. And what happens is, oh, suspense and mystery, I tells you, and all that kind of stuff. And then what happens is as you change it around, you create different moods for yourself. And next thing you know, instead of just playing for a few minutes, next thing, Mum's coming through and saying, that's enough, you've been playing for 2 hours, now come and eat something. Oh, bloody drums, I wish you'd stuck the violin. Oh, I think I've done that tale before as well. Anyway, so I better start wrapping the show up, I would think. So today is all about sounds. If you have access to some of the garden variety recording things that just come with some computers like GarageBand and a few others, Band in a Box maybe, or whatever's going at the moment. There's always new things coming up. But experiment for the sounds, you know, that kind of thing. Even when you're just doing... And I hope you like the show. My name's Quinlan. It's Melbourne Musos, and now for a nice class of...